Hi everyone, it's Kristen Redman, and today we're going to go over those planetary aspects that are surrounding us and affecting us for the week June 13th through the 19th. And first off, I just want to apologize that it's been a couple of weeks since I've done a video. It has been crazy around here with end of school year stuff with our boys, so it's been like field trips and graduations and all sorts of things like that. So that is why I haven't done anything, and even why I didn't do last week's reading, which worked out okay actually in the end, because last week we really didn't have anything happening. There weren't really any major aspects that were going down. The only thing that did happen was actually yesterday on Sunday, the 12th. Mercury went into its home sign of Gemini, and that is like it's happiest there, okay, there in Virgo, okay, Mercury actually rules both of those signs, Virgo and Gemini, but right now we're more concerned about Gemini. Now remember, we talked before, the sign of Gemini represents our communication with others and the social aspect that we have in ourselves and the networking that we do to get what we need and fulfill our soul's purpose. That is the good part of Gemini. Now, Mercury embodies all of those things, okay? Usually the way you look at it when you've got a sign and a ruling planet, they represent or they mirror each other's qualities, okay? So we've got Gemini and Mercury that embody that idea of thought and communicating our thoughts with each other. And one of the most important things is with the universe, because what we think and what we say to others, we send those ripples out into the universe, and that is what we attract back to us, right? Okay. So now that Mercury has landed into Gemini over the next 3 weeks, this is the best time to get out there and network. This is the time to sell yourself. This is the time to really negotiate the heck out of anything you want, because you have the power of word and thought behind you to get out there and do what you need. Get out there and have that confidence to get out there and communicate with new people, to bring in those new relationships, and the deeper connections that come with Cancer, which is coming up very soon. So that is a wonderful thing that we have with Mercury doing that. Negotiate, get out there, do what you need to do, people. Talk what you need. One of the major things, like I said, is to get your thoughts out into the universe. Positive thinking. Don't say, oh my God, I'm never going to get out of this job. I'm never going to make enough money. I'm never going to blah, 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 blah. Because you know what? That's exactly what's going to happen. So we got Mercury on your side to help you think and say the correct things to bring what it is you really want in there. And what's cool about that is today, we got Tuesday, the 13th, right? 13th. It works out perfect because today Neptune goes retrograde. And Neptune, when it goes, Neptune kind of represents our subconscious self, okay? And when it goes retrograde, it's kind of not a bad thing. Like the rest of the planets, you know how when they go retrograde, it's like it makes you think on these past things and all this terrible stuff. And not usually terrible, but it gives you an opportunity for change and for growth. Now, when Neptune goes retrograde, it's actually kind of more beneficial when it does that, because it makes the subconscious kind of turn into the conscious mind. Okay, you see what I'm saying? Retrograde means kind of flip-sided backwards. So you've got Neptune, which represents that subconscious area of ourself, that represents our dreams. Okay, it helps bring our dreams up to the surface and into life. And how perfect is that with Mercury and Gemini right now? So we have our dreams getting pulled up out of that subconscious. We're having old memories and doubts and like I like to call it, like these long-running programs that we have of autopilot that we operate on, that kind of keep putting us on this hamster wheel and setting us back to having to start again. Like you constantly feel like you're being knocked down and starting again, knocked down and starting again. That is exactly what Neptune retrograde breaks the cycle of. It helps bring those programs out into the open and say, wait a second, this doesn't work for me anymore, okay? Getting up every day and eating 3 donuts makes me feel sluggish. It makes the rest of my day go, why do I do that? Because it's habit, right? You do that. You grab them on the way out of the door, you stop at Tim Hortons or whatever it is, and you automatically do those things, and then you hate yourself for the rest of the day, right? Because it slows you down, it makes your waistline bigger, you know what I mean? It's all of these things. You fill in the blank, whatever this donut is in your life. It's just those repetitive autopilot cycles. Use this time while Neptune is in retrograde, okay, from now until November, to really bring those out into the focus and say, hey, I'm going to change that. Mercury and Gemini is going to help you too over the next 3 weeks, because it's going to bring these sharp insights. Ideas are going to come to you for how to change that. Maybe you're thinking, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to communicate with an exercise studio, and I want to work with them and work with somebody that holds me accountable, that helps me break this cycle. That's the great thing about these two guys working in harmony. Another good thing with Neptune being in retrograde now is that it helps artists like me, and I know there's a few of you out there too that are creative types, okay? This is the time when it really pulls those creative ideas from your subconscious that have been blocked, and it brings them out into the focus, okay? This is a great time to take advantage of that, to create, to make something new, because it'll be more fantastic than you even thought, because you've got your Mercury and Gemini working with you for these sharp insights, and you've got that creativity on full force. The next 5 months, okay, until November, this is also going to be a fantastic time. For those of you that are also like me, that are in the metaphysical world, that deal with spiritual healing, physical healing, emotional healing, energetic healing, any type of work that's in this line, you're going to be even sharper. It sharpens the psychic senses when Neptune goes retrograde. And especially when it goes into retrograde, this is the same with any planet, keep this in mind. If it goes retrograde on top of one of your birth chart planets, it's going to enhance whatever that is that your birth chart planet brings. So let's say, for example, Neptune lands on your, let's say your natal Venus, okay, that's money, that's love, okay, you've got Neptune coming through, and it meets up, and it goes retrograde here, so it's stopped, and it's landed, and it's conjunct or aligned with that Venus, that birth chart love and money and beauty and things like that. And you've got your subconscious, okay, coming in here, and it's dumping all of those old things you don't need anymore associated with memories, maybe with love and issues that have happened there. Maybe it helps you with money. It helps you kind of dump and purge those old thoughts, those old patterns that work with that, and it brings creative solutions to the mind, to the forefront for moving forward. It's very powerful when any planet in retrograde lands on a birth chart planet. It's easy to look it up yourself, to do that, but to really get into the dynamics of it and see how it affects the other planets in your chart, you need somebody like me. So give me a call, send me a text, send me a email, whatever, Gemini, Mercury person, send it, your communications to me, and I can help you understand it even better, what this brings for you. So we've got that. Next thing we've got Venus going into Cancer. That's on Friday, okay? And when Venus, like we were just saying, that planet of love and money, goes into a water sign like Cancer. Cancer's really focused on family. It's focused on emotion. It's focused on deep feeling because it's a water sign. But it's mostly focused with family, okay? It's a very feminine sign ruled by the moon. So you think of the moon cycles, every day it's a little bit different and it ebbs and flows. It carries that same idea in Cancer. So when Venus goes into Cancer, we're really family oriented. We're emotionally driven to do things, and especially when it comes to our love and money. You may find yourself being a little bit more emotional when it comes to these two areas, but that's a good thing because we're going from mindset to seeing how it emotionally affects you, how it affects the way you act outwardly to others, okay, and how that cycle carries forward. One of the main focuses with Cancer too, but especially now that we've got Venus, which has to deal with our love for others and for ourselves, the main focus when Venus is gone into Cancer is that we really need to nurture ourselves, okay, and nurture the ones that are around us. So make sure you take that time, because that is kind of what helps perpetuate those old autopilot cycles to go into the future and to really feel it, feel really involved with that. Now, another thing that happens on Friday is Saturn, that planet of restriction and lessons and all sorts of things that it brings, is going to make a really hard squaring aspect to our fun Neptune, our wonderful creative Neptune. And what that kind of boils down to is it becomes an issue of reality versus illusion. Okay, we're going to be faced with that. What our dreams and what our thought process says, what we kind of hope that things are going to be, and then all of a sudden reality hits, okay? So when those two things happen, that means usually that it's kind of a disappointing time. Maybe you've got your hopes set on something that's going to be happening, and then come Friday or over the weekend, it kind of falls through and it doesn't go the way you want, okay? The last time this happened was in November of last year. So if you think back to November of last year, if anything like that happened, where you had your hopes up really high and then they got smashed, especially last year too, because at the same time, there was also Pluto and Uranus were making a really hard square towards each other, so it may have been a death or a loss. Combined with this Saturn and Neptune helping you to learn lessons through the disillusionment or disappointment, okay? Now, this may not be a loss necessarily that's coming up, because Pluto and Uranus aren't going to be bringing unexpected losses, but it's going to be something that just kind of bums you out, okay? This is going to happen again in September. So we've got a little bit of time where this stays, because Neptune is retrograde and so is Saturn, okay? So it's going to be kind of a lasting transit until they kind of start to pull apart a little bit more soon. So, yes, that was another thing I had there. I'm sorry, I was just thinking, because with the retrograde, both of them being in retrograde, remember retrograde brings out past issues. Okay, so this can be either karmic issues from the past that need to be worked out, and you thought maybe in your mind you were doing something right, and then you realize, oh man, I wasn't this whole time, and then the disappointment comes. Or maybe just old disappointments themselves, retrograde meaning past, maybe just old disappointments come to the surface again. Something triggers them, something scratches it, and they come out again. Or maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe you actually don't have something happen, but maybe the feeling of disappointment is something that's just internalized within yourself. Instead of projecting it outwardly or something outwardly happening, maybe it's something internally that we are dealing with of disappointment, disillusionment. Okay, you know what you do? You use Mercury in retrograde to take advantage of that. Okay, or not Mercury in retrograde, Mercury in Gemini. Sharp insights that come to you, help you network with people, help you talk to people, talk it out. Don't hold it in, right? And when you talk about it, don't feel bad if you're like, bleh, everything's terrible and blah, blah, blah. At first, turn it though, spin it and say, I know it's getting better. I know it's going to change very soon. It is changing, and I'm grateful it's changing, because then you shift that bad mindset, lack mindset, into something better, and then that's when the abundance comes in. With love, money, anything. Your thoughts are your reality, right? So let's do a reading for our week here, kind of see what else is working with us. I got my ginormous box of stones here. See what energies are around us. Perhaps maybe an angel that's going to help us with all of this energy that's going on this week. So let's see. Nope, hold on. I just wait for that little poke in my hand. And they are making me work for it, maybe because it's been a couple of weeks and they're like, hey, girlfriend, let's see if you're still sharp. Hold on. There it is. Oh, hey, what a fantastic one, too. Okay, this is a lapis lazuli, okay? And this is such a fantastic stone for our third eye, And it's also fantastic just for thinking in particular. Okay, so Mercury driven. This Mercury in Gemini, I think, is really going to be a fantastic cycle this year of breaking these old things. Now, with this also helps to open that third eye so we can see a little bit clearer, especially now that we've got Neptune retrograde, right? We can really look back into that subconscious and do some dumping, okay? Zadkiel is also the angel that he embodies the color of blue. How cool is that? My nails are blue. Hey, psychic connection. I knew that was coming, huh? That's kind of cool. Zadkiel, he is the angel for Gemini, okay? He helps us with our thought process. All of those Mercury Gemini aspects, he helps with that. So we're taking the subconscious, bringing it through the third eye, understanding what we need to do and moving forward. So this is a perfect one and a perfect angel too. If you're having issues with all of that and those disappointments and the letting go of the past and the subconscious dumping and blah, 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 he is the angel to call on because he helps us release old toxic memories and he helps us move into the future. So let's see what in particular Zadkiel has for us this week, okay? Besides all of those, I feel like I need to do this 3 times because that is the house that Gemini naturally rules in the zodiac for all of us, is the 3rd house. So let's see, Zadkiel, what you need to tell us. All right. Well, how about that? An air card. What a surprise. And it's so interesting because Gemini is an air sign. Thought, Mercury, air, thinking. This is an air card. This is the ace of air. The beginning of new thoughts. The beginning of brilliant new ideas that come to us. Any kind of ace card is going to represent a beginning, okay? And this one in particular says brilliant new ideas and inspirations, seeing the truth of a situation too, okay? Because we're doing a lot of subconscious dumping and there's going to be some disappointments this week. So we'll see the truth of the situation in it too, right? Be objective. And it may also indicate that yes, it's a new beginning and it may be challenging though, okay? So keep that in mind. There may be a loss involved, but it's going to be a wonderful beginning, but it's going to be a little bit difficult at the beginning. So I think Zadkiel wants to get that point across as well. So let's just kind of pull an extra card with this too here. These are the ones I pull for the chakras, for the emotion that is attached with it, and kind of focus on where that stagnant energy may be stuck in our system. So I'm going to do this. Ooh, I feel like I have to do it 2 more times. And then Zadkiel is going to kind of help us with these new beginnings of discovery, self-discovery especially. It's super cool because we got a full moon coming here and we're so close to that full moon. We're like 3/4 of the way there. The full moon is coming very, very soon. It's going to be next weekend. So this, Zadkiel is telling us that in the process of this dumping, we are going to find self-discovery, okay? We're going to find what it is we need to do to make the wheels move forward and leave that past behind, okay? This is kind of the gist of this card here, because what it represents is this little flower that was dying. Somebody thought, well, you're useless, so I'm just going to put you in the trash, right? So this poor plant's like, well, I guess I better just surrender, give up. I know I'm dead, so I'm just going to go and die and go to heaven, right? So the plant died, or, he's thinking he's dead. He ends up in a landfill in this amazing compost, even though most people would think it's a trashy, horrible situation to be in. This plant grows its roots there and becomes stronger and more beautiful, even with all of that garbage. And you know why? Because he just released it all to God to take care of and said, you know what? I don't have any control over this. And really none of us do, right? It's kind of a matter of us giving up control at certain times when there's no other option. And that's when we learn the most about ourselves, okay? That's when we can let go of the past and move into the future. So I think that is most certainly going to be the theme of the week. This card in particular deals with the root chakra, and we were talking about the third eye here. That energy cycles between the two. The root chakra deals with being in reality. That is the connection to this earth plane. That's money, that's security, that's anything that has to do with anything physical, okay? Now that energy will cycle through the third eye. You've got reality and you've got illusion, just kind of like that Saturn Neptune that we've got going on Friday that's going to be lasting for a little while. Reality versus illusion or dreams, you know what I mean? It's that battle. And that, I think, is kind of the gist that Zadkiel is getting through to us, that even though there's this tension between the two, that energy cycles through them. Fear goes out, comes in through the subconscious. We get these ideas, these brilliant ideas that come through to change things, to bring new beginnings, and then from there we move forward. So let's do that this week, everybody. Have a wonderful week, and I will definitely see you next week. Goodbye.